Okay, wow, you really got me thinking with this one. Can partners truly love each other equally?
Hmm.
That's a deep question.
Yeah.
And the podcast and articles you sent,
Right.
they really have some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
It's it's making me think about some of my own relationships too.
Sure.
I think we've all had those moments where you kind of wonder, like,
Yeah.
do they feel it as much as I do?
Yeah, it's such a universal question, but it's so
Yeah.
complex too.
Yeah.
Um, and before we even get into whether or not love can be equal,
Right.
we probably need to define what equal even means
Yeah, that's
in
just
this context.
yeah,
Yes,
seriously,
Chilla.
because are we talking about how intensely
Yeah.
you feel, or is it about how you show it?
Right.
Or maybe even like how dedicated and committed you are to the relationship.
Hmm.
What does equal love actually mean to you?
Yeah, that's a good question to think about.
Right.
It's a really good starting point because even just defining love. Right.
Can be tricky, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the source material you sent talks about all kinds of love.
Right.
Romantic love,
Sure.
platonic love,
Yeah.
love between family members,
Uh-huh.
even the love we have for ourselves.
Oh, yeah, good point.
And all of those can look very different even between two people in the same relationship.
Yeah, for sure. So we've got all these types of love,
Mm-hmm.
and even within each type, there's all this variation.
Yeah.
But then there's this one theory that the podcast mentioned,
Okay. Yeah.
Sternberg's triangular theory of love.
Yeah, I remember that. I
Right.
love that theory.
Yeah, it basically says that there are three parts to love.
Mm.
Intimacy, passion, and commitment.
Right.
And get this, they can all change over time.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that changing over time that really complicates this whole idea of equal love.
Totally, yeah.
Think about the beginning of a relationship, right? The honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
When everything is so new and exciting.
Oh, so exciting.
It's all butterflies and late night talks.
Uh-huh.
That's passion.
Yeah.
It's super intense.
Oh, yeah.
But then fast forward a few years,
Yeah.
that passion might cool down a bit,
Right.
and it kind of transforms into this deeper, more comfortable love.
Yeah.
So is that less love, or is it just different?
That's a really good question.
I think so.
I mean, it's kind of like what the podcast said about how different cultures express love.
Right.
Some cultures are all about these big gestures,
Yeah.
while others are more about those smaller everyday things.
Mm-hmm.
They even talked about how some cultures still do arranged marriages.
Yeah.
And the idea is that love will grow over time.
Right.
It's just so interesting how all of that
Yeah.
really changes your assumptions
It's
about
tough.
how love should look or how it should feel.
It definitely makes you question
Yeah.
whether judging the equality of love
Right.
based on just outward appearances
Right.
is really accurate.
Because two people could be totally in love, but they show it so differently.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
Like maybe one person is always buying gifts,
Right.
while the other person prefers to spend quality time together.
Yes.
Does that mean one loves the other less?
Not necessarily, no.
Not at all.
And that's where I think love languages come in.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Remember those 5 categories?
Mm-hmm.
Words of affirmation,
Mm-hmm.
acts of service, gift giving,
Yeah.
quality time, and physical touch.
Right.
I mean, the podcast made a big point that we all have one.
Yeah.
That's our primary love language.
Right.
It's the one that makes us feel the most loved.
Right.
Sometimes
Yeah.
you just want your partner to listen. You just want them to understand,
Uh-huh.
without trying to fix it or offer solutions.
Exactly.
And that's the quality time love language.
Right.
But what if your partner's primary language is acts of service?
Yeah.
They're going to be thinking,
No.
okay, what can I do to fix this?
Right. And they might just start doing the dishes or something.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're both expressions of love,
Yeah.
but they might not land the same way with you.
Exactly.
And that can make it feel imbalanced.
Right.
Even if you're both giving it your all,
Yeah. It's like speaking different love dialects.
Totally, yeah.
And that leads to misunderstandings.
Yeah.
And misconnections.
Right.
And then on top of all of that,
Mm.
we've got to remember that everyone comes with baggage.
Oh, the baggage.
Yeah, from our past relationships,
Yeah.
from how we were raised.
Yeah, for sure.
All of that can affect
Mhm.
how we give and receive love.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what we might see as an imbalance
Right.
might not really be about the amount of love.
Right.
Maybe it's actually about how comfortable each person feels
Yeah.
expressing it or receiving it.
Right. So it's not just a simple equation.
Right, exactly.
It's about understanding all these individual differences.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what happens when it really is imbalanced?
Right.
It's not just about different love languages,
Yeah.
but you actually feel like one person is putting in way more effort.
Right. Well, the source material actually goes into some red flags.
Oh,
Like, for example,
huh?
maybe one partner is always the one initiating contact,
Yeah.
or they're always the one planning the dates,
Yeah.
or maybe they feel like their needs aren't being met.
Right, and it's important to pay attention to those signs.
Yeah.
Because if you don't,
Right.
things can really start to go downhill.
Exactly.
Resentment builds up, communication breaks down,
Yeah.
and you can end up feeling disconnected,
Yeah.
even if you still love each other.
Exactly. Which is why communication is so important.
Oh, it's so important.
It's about creating that safe space
Yeah.
where both partners feel like they can actually speak openly
Yes.
about their needs and concerns
Yes.
and not be judged or blamed,
Yeah.
you know?
It's not about keeping score.
Yeah.
It's about understanding each other
Exactly.
and working together to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
And empathy is key.
Yes, absolutely.
It's about trying to see things from your partner's side,
Yeah,
even if you don't totally get it.
right.
Okay, so we've talked about some of the potential problems,
Yeah.
but I want to end this part of our deep dive on a hopeful note,
Okay.
because even if things feel a little off,
Right.
there are definitely ways to build a more balanced relationship.
There are, yeah.
And the source material has some really good advice.
Oh, good.
One thing they emphasized was regular check-ins with each other.
Oh, I like that.
It doesn't have to be anything formal,
Yeah.
just setting aside some time to connect,
Yeah.
maybe once a week, just to see how you're both feeling
Right.
and to address any little issues before they become big problems.
Exactly, like a relationship tune-up.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Make sure everything's running smoothly. Make sure things are good.
And in addition to those check-ins,
Yep.
the source material also suggested doing things together,
Oh, yeah.
something fun
Yeah.
to reconnect and build shared experiences.
Exactly. And it can be anything, right?
Right.
Like maybe taking a class.
Yeah.
Or going on a hike.
Yeah.
Or even just starting that DIY project you were talking about.
Uh-huh. That's a good one.
Yeah.
As long as you're both engaged
Right.
and having fun.
Right. Exactly.
It's all about strengthening your connection.
That connection is so important.
It is. And sometimes those small moments,
Yes.
they really are the most powerful.
I agree.
It's not always about the big gestures.
Yeah.
It's about consistently showing your partner that you care
Uh-huh.
and that you're invested in building a life together.
Yeah. I love that.
And sometimes you might need a little extra help to get things back on track.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And that's okay.
It is. Yeah.
The source material also talked about maybe going to see a therapist or a counselor.
Right. Exactly.
If you feel like you're stuck,
Yeah.
there's no shame in that.
No.
They can give you an outside perspective,
Yeah.
help you see any unhealthy patterns,
Right.
and they can teach you how to communicate better.
Yeah. Sometimes that can make all the difference.
Right, so it's about having the courage to ask for help,
Yeah.
which actually is a
Yeah.
really powerful act of love
And
and
absolutely.
commitment to your relationship.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've talked about recognizing those imbalances,
Right.
and we've talked about where they come from,
Yeah.
but how do we actually fix them?
Right.
Because knowing there's a problem is one thing,
Yeah.
but actually taking those steps to make things better,
Right.
well, that can be tough.
It can be, but the good news is that the source material has some great ideas.
Oh, good.
Yeah. One of the biggest things they talked about was active listening.
Active listening, yeah.
And I don't just mean waiting for your turn to talk.
Right.
It's about really trying to understand what your partner's feeling
Mm-hmm.
and what their perspective is,
Okay.
even if you don't agree with it.
So you're saying it's about putting your own assumptions aside
Yeah, that's
and really tuning into what they're saying. Not just the words, but like their body language too.
right. Because sometimes just feeling heard and understood
Right.
can make a huge difference.
It can, and it can really help to bridge that gap
Yeah.
and create that feeling of validation,
Exactly.
which is so important when you're trying to work through this stuff.
It really is.
And it's a two-way street, right?
Absolutely.
Both partners need to do it.
Yeah.
But what if you're the one who feels like you're giving more?
Okay.
What if your needs aren't being met?
Right.
How do you even bring that up?
Well, I think I statements can be really helpful.
I statements.
Yeah. So instead of blaming your partner
Right.
or making it about what they're doing wrong, try focusing on how you're feeling.
Okay.
The source material actually gave a great example.
Okay.
Instead of saying, you never spend time with me,
Which can sound pretty accusatory.
right? It can come across as an attack.
Mm.
Try saying something like, I've been feeling a bit lonely lately.
Okay.
and I would love to spend some more quality time together.
Okay, so it takes the blame out of it,
Exactly.
and it makes it more about your feelings.
Right, and it opens the door for a more productive conversation.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And along those same lines,
Yeah.
it's important to be specific about what you need.
Okay.
It's not enough to just say, I need you to be more romantic.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
Right, everyone has a different definition.
Exactly.
So instead, try saying something like,
Yeah.
it would mean a lot to me if you surprised me with a date night once in a while.
Okay, so be specific.
Right, give your partner clear steps they can take.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because a lot of times, these imbalances happen accidentally.
Accidentally.
Yeah. You know, life gets busy.
Yeah, for sure.
Routines change, and before you know it, you've drifted apart without even realizing it.
It's true. It can be really subtle,
Yeah.
which is why those check-ins are so important.
Right, exactly.
Just taking that time to connect
Yeah.
and see how you're both doing.
It's like a temperature check.
Yeah, a relationship checkup.
Right, exactly.
And it reinforces the idea that you're a team.
Right, working together
Like,
to keep the relationship strong.
and it's about being proactive
Yeah.
instead of reactive.
Exactly.
And it's not just about talking either.
Oh, wait.
The source material also suggested doing things together.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Something you both enjoy
Yeah.
to reconnect and build shared experiences.
Exactly, because remember how we talked about how shared experiences can shape how love evolves?
Oh, yeah.
Well, actively creating those experiences
Mm-hmm.
can be a really powerful way to nurture your bond.
It could be anything, right?
Yeah, anything.
Yeah. Like learning a new skill together, taking a dance class, volunteering.
Right, anything you can do together.
As long as you're both engaged and having fun,
Exactly.
it's all about strengthening that connection.
Yes, and you know what?
Uh,
It's often the little moments of connection
Uh.
that really make a difference.
like what?
Like those quiet moments of togetherness.
Okay.
Those inside jokes you share.
Yeah.
The way you know how to make each other laugh.
Yeah, that's true.
It's those little things that build up over time.
And they create this rich history together.
Exactly. It's like weaving a tapestry,
Okay.
thread by thread, year after year.
Okay.
And if you take care of it,
Yeah.
that love can become something truly amazing.
So it's not always about the grand gestures.
Right.
Sometimes it's about the everyday stuff.
Exactly.
And sometimes you might need a little help
Yeah, it's okay.
to figure it all out.
It is.
Remember we talked about seeking professional help?
Yeah, like a therapist or counselor.
Right. They can be so helpful,
Yeah.
especially if you're having trouble communicating or
Right.
if you're stuck in those negative patterns.
Okay, so we've talked about recognizing imbalances,
Yeah.
communicating better, and getting support when we need it.
Right.
But I'm curious, can we ever really achieve perfect balance in a relationship?
That's a great question. And honestly, I think that's where things get even more complex.
Okay.
Because if we remember that love is always changing,
Right.
well, so is balance.
It's not about finding this perfect symmetry.
No, not at all.
It's more about finding a balance that works for both people.
Exactly. It's a moving target.
And it's constantly shifting.
Yeah, as life throws you curveballs.
So it's less about a 50-50 split
Right.
and more about this constant dance of adapting to each other's needs
Yeah, I love that analogy.
and the changing circumstances of life.
Right.
And that takes effort,
It does.
communication,
Uh-huh.
and compromise.
But the source material suggests that when you're both committed to that journey,
Yeah.
to growing together and supporting each other's evolution,
Uh-huh.
that's when you can really achieve a balanced love.
It's a beautiful idea, and I think it sets us up perfectly
Yeah.
to talk about how love can grow and change over time.
Right. How it becomes even more meaningful
Yeah.
as you go through those ups and downs together.
And we'll dive into that in our final segment. Okay, so we've really dug into what equal love even means.
Right.
We've looked at those imbalances
Yeah.
and some ways to fix them.
Right.
But I think it's important to remember
Yeah.
that relationships aren't static.
They're not.
They're always evolving.
Right.
And so is love.
Absolutely. And the source material really emphasizes that.
Oh, how so?
Well, it says that love isn't just about those early stages.
You know, the honeymoon phase.
Yeah, when everything is so exciting and new.
When it feels effortless.
Exactly. It's about what happens later
Uh-huh.
when the excitement fades a bit.
Yeah. And real life sets in.
Okay, so it's about navigating those day-to-day challenges.
Right. It's about those times when love isn't always easy or pretty.
Right.
It's about those times when you really have to put in the effort
Yeah.
to show up for your partner.
Even when you're stressed
Yeah.
or tired or dealing with your own problems?
Exactly. And that's where commitment becomes so important.
Okay, so it's about choosing to make the relationship a priority,
Yeah, it's about making that choice day after day.
to nurture it,
Uh-huh.
and to face those challenges together.
Right. And, we always hear that love is a verb,
Oh, yeah.
but what does that actually look like?
Yeah, what are some examples of those actions?
Well, think about those little everyday things,
Okay, like what?
like making your partner coffee in the morning, or
Yeah.
picking up their favorite snack at the store,
Uh-huh.
or just sending a quick text to let them know you're thinking of them.
Okay, those small gestures.
Right. They might seem small,
Yeah,
but they really do add up.
it's about being present,
Yes. Presence is so important.
putting down your phone,
Yeah.
really listening when they're talking.
Making eye contact.
Yeah, showing them that you're really there.
Exactly. And as the relationship grows,
Yeah.
it's also about supporting each other's growth.
So, like, celebrating each other's accomplishments.
Yeah, and offering support when things are tough.
Right, being a safe space for each other,
Exactly. So you can both evolve and become your best selves.
together and individually.
Right. And it's about facing those challenges together.
Because every couple goes through tough times.
Oh, absolutely.
Illness,
Right.
family issues, it's inevitable.
It is. And it's about how you approach those challenges together.
As a team,
Yes, how you support each other.
you communicate.
And how you come out stronger on the other side.
And that's where those shared experiences become so powerful.
They really do. They create this foundation,
Of understanding
empathy.
and resilience.
Yeah, and they can deepen the love in ways you might not have imagined.
Back in those early days of infatuation.
Exactly. You build this history together.
Yeah.
All those memories.
The good times and the bad.
Right, and a deep understanding of each other.
It's like weaving a tapestry
I love that analogy.
year after year.
And if you take care of it,
Yeah.
that love can become something truly extraordinary.
So after this deep dive,
Yeah.
what have we learned?
Well, I think we've learned that equal love
Yeah.
isn't about some simple formula.
Right. It's not about splitting everything perfectly in half.
Exactly. It's much more nuanced than that.
It's about understanding each other's needs,
Absolutely.
communicating,
And making the relationship a priority.
and remembering that love is a journey.
It is. It's not a destination.
And if love is always evolving,
Yeah.
does equal even mean the same thing throughout the relationship?
That's a great question.
What does equal love look like to you?
Yeah, and how does that change over time?
As you and your partner grow and change together,
I think those are great questions to think about.
and maybe even to discuss with your partner.
Yeah, because the best relationships are the ones
Yeah.
where both people feel loved and valued
Right.
and supported.
In a way that feels real and meaningful to them.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Me too.
Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into love and balance.
It's been a pleasure.
I hope it's given you all some food for thought
Me too.
as you navigate your own relationships
Yeah.
and define what equal love means to you